In preparation for an oil painting, I make a charcoal sketch, and when I think I've got the features pretty much close, I spray it with a fixative, one of the very good fixatives, so that when I do my underpainting, the charcoal won't mix with the... Right now I have my air filter on, my overhead fan, and I have my windows open. And I wanted to show you something. In this photograph, Vita is looking straight ahead, and she has her head slightly tilted up. So I had, there's more shading under her chin, and the light is hitting her in certain places. Right here is one place that I have to lighten. But in this picture, if you notice, her hair is a lot lighter. She's looking down, the sun is directly on her face, and there's a whole different dynamic. Her nose is tilted down, her eyes are darker because of the shade, and what I want to do is use this photograph for the color of her hair, because this is a true color of her hair. It's darker here because it's a lousy photograph. And she's in the woods, and her husband is blocking the light. As I showed you in this picture, he's like right next to her, and she's in his shadow. So I don't want to use the lighting, but I love the pose. I love the way her face looks, and her full smile, and she's looking at us. And I just love the flow of her hair. So I'm using two different photographs, one for color and one for pose. Now my next step, I'm going to mix my colors, and I'm going to do an underpainting, which is going to consist of 3 shades of one color. Just like the charcoal painting is really just shades of gray, the next is going to be shades of brown, and that's going to be my underpainting. And it will help me to correct flaws I see as I'm working, and it'll help me to put a good foundation for my stage 3 painting, which will be the gradual change. On my palette, I made a section of four values. I've got the darkest is burnt umber, and then I added a little bit of yellow ochre to the next batch, the next value, and then I added white to that batch, and then finally just a touch of burnt umber with some white for the lightest areas. So I start with a number 10 brush. I use the same brush throughout the whole underpainting process. It's just a size 10 flat. And I start with the darkest shade, the darkest value, and I get the main drawing done, and then I start adding the next value. And I just work towards the lightest value. And I want to cover the canvas because I don't want to see any white. It makes it easier for me. Now, as I'm doing this, I can also correct any flaws that I saw in the last section. So I'll modify it even more so it looks more and more like her. Each time I work on it, it'll look more and more like her. But at the beginning, the most important part was getting her eyes, nose, and mouth in the right proportion, with the right kind of spacing between each. That's the only way it's going to look like her. And as I paint it, you can see it's starting to look more and more like her, because I'm also correcting anything I saw along the way that needed corrected. I'm tilting her nose different. I'm adding lighting under her eye, and lightening her hair a little bit. And I will not stop until all the white on the canvas is gone and there's paint everywhere. Anyway, that's my goal. And the reason I use such a big brush is because I don't want to get bogged down trying to do some detail. It's just supposed to be roughed in. I'm just getting everything in place for the big event, which is the oil painting. So with this large brush, I can get all the big areas in quicker and stay away from that tedious stuff that drives you crazy. That's for the end. Oh, she's starting to look good now. I don't have her eyes looking in the right direction, but because that is what I call detail, those eyes aren't going to get messed with until the end. I do the eyes last, and her teeth, all you do is paint in the shape of the total teeth and the shape of the total lips. You don't try to individualize sections of those areas yet. Those are for the final stages. So she's going to be blocked in pretty soon, and I'm going to have to do something with that background. And because she's considered a summer in colors, I'm going to have kind of a pinkish tone to her skin. So I think what goes good with pink is turquoise. So I'm going to look for manganese blue and ultramarine blue to put in the background. I think that'll accent her coloring best. She is outside after all, so sky colors sound good, right? She had beautiful hair at this stage of her life. She had very long, natural, blonde hair. I would call it dishwater blonde, but because she lived in Texas, her hair was rather, streaked with the sun. So she had pretty hair. And I wanted to accent that because, let's see, right now it's just a value study. And I'm putting in ultramarine blue and manganese blue together just to cover up that white. And you could be as messy as you want with this. You could overlay, it doesn't matter, just so you keep your values straight. It really does look like her. Now I'm just adding some yellow at the bottom because I'm going to put some highlights in her hair, and I want to make sure the background is yellow and not white. Okay, she's ready to go. We're ready for the next stage.